Welcome. A little disclaimer there. Welcome to this intro talk about the series that I do about preparing your upcoming season. So thank you for looking at the intro, and thank you for hopefully wanting to know more about endurance. Otherwise, you wouldn't be on the member section and looking at this video. So if this is the first video you watch, I'd like to welcome you to the Groen Equestrian coaching and the member area, and I hope you will explore the rest of the section to see what is available for you. It's ever expanding. There is much more coming, and I'm recording as we speak, and I always have plans for new stuff, and if you have plans for new stuff, let me know. So they're all at the moment I'm doing all the intros to all the tutorial series, so you can see if any of those tickles your fancy and you will want to pay a small fee to watch them. So like this one requires a small fee to watch, but I do feel that any of the tutorials will give you vital structure for, in this case, preparing your season, but later on preparing your training and other things as well. So this series, the whole preparing your upcoming season series, is part of the online endurance coaching. Perhaps you have already joined that, but you can join that, and that will give you a lot of information. So it will give you about 70 tutorials. These are in that, and it will bring you through your whole season step by step. Wonder how I got the name. A workbook with assignments, again, to help you and to sort of structure your own work and to write down what you've done. And then we have a Facebook support group with where you can ask questions to me, but also the other people of the community can help you with stuff, and it's good to not be on your own. And then we have monthly Zoom Q&A sessions. So I think that is very interesting and helpful and worthwhile. So anyone wanted to join that, looking at this video, have a look at the plans page and you can join there. So let's continue about what's in this series. And there are 9 video talks in this series, and the intro you are watching now. And then we have 8 tutorials that will help you prepare your season in a logical order. So these are those different tutorials, and have a look. I don't need to read them out because I will do that, because I will explain a little about all of these separately so that you have an idea what to expect. So the first one is sort of a starting point, and will tell you about my philosophy. Endurance is an amazing sport for both horses and riders, but we need to make sure that our horses are ready for what we want them to do, and realizing what they are capable of is a quite an important part of that. So a lot of people just do it and just try it and see where it brings them, and they might stumble on their path, and quite often it is because they have overlooked a few things, and that's fine. You learn by making mistakes, but by learning in advance, by doing a course like this and doing these tutorials, you can be a lot more fair to your horse, and you can have a look at what it can do. So not only what's inside the horse, its intrinsic natural ability, but also possible weaklings your horse might have, and your circumstances and how they can improve or impair your training. So we will look in this talk about what fitness is, how you can sort of think of fitness, and also how fit certain horses will get compared to the fitness other horses will get. We will not be able to get every horse in the same level of fitness, basically because they're different. Our horse way of living is important, the breed, the age, the experience, they all contribute. So that is what we're talking about here, and being aware of how our horse will get fit is vital to ask fair things of it. So we'll continue with all that, because every horse, every rider, and every situation is different, and there is no such thing as one size fits all, even though a lot of standard training schedules are about and are being shared. by people. And if someone says, oh, I want to start with endurance, oh, have a look at this schedule. But your circumstances might be quite different, and your horse might be quite different. Your time might be quite different. So you might not be able to do all that, and you risk training your horse in a wrong way and actually setting it up for a possible injury in the future. So I always advocate to think about your own circumstances, think about your horse and your time and your qualifications or your qualities really, and come up with a plan that suits you. So we will look in this series, we will look, or in this tutorial, we'll look into the different circumstances a little bit more in depth, and we'll give you an idea of how your circumstances are and what your time budget and ambitions can be because of that. So knowing what your starting position is can prevent a lot of frustration and failure in the future, and vet costs. Don't forget those. So we're going to assess some more, and we're really going to look at our equipment. And the most crucial piece of equipment is, of course, our horse, and he or she is the main athlete of this sport. We have to be fit, but the horse is doing the majority of the work. And of course, we all love our horse and think our horse is the absolute best in the world, which it is. But to really have an idea of how we can train our horse, we have to look at what goals might be reasonable. We need to have a long and critical look at our horse and actually acknowledge that we might have some weak links, and perhaps in previous time we might have forgotten about those, or not acknowledged them, or not realized that they were there, and we need to address those to make your horse as strong as possible. So in this talk, we learn to use evaluations and SWOTs. That is usually sort of a business thing, but we can look at a horse in a very objective, business-like way, and ourselves as well, and have a think about everything that connects our horse and where we should pay a little bit more attention. Part of that is assessing the horse's conformation and also its movement. And I find especially balance of conformation very important. So every horse will have their own conformational little things, but they will be better or worse if the balance of the horse is not right. If the balance of the horse is right, then they will be better, or will not be as crucial. If the balance of the horse is not quite right, we really have to work. So that is why I have a separate talk, a separate tutorial to have you think about the balance of conformation of your horse. And for me, there is some traits that really make it a lot easier, and there's a lot of traits that make it a little bit more difficult, make you have to realize that you will have to help your horse in that way. And especially if the horse is built on the forehand, it will have a greater risk of injury on the front leg, and sometimes even the hind legs, because it doesn't move in quite the right way in its hindquarters as well. So when you are aware of that, you can work on making the quality of your ridden work, your training work better, and keep your horse moving as well as possible and prevent injury that way. So that is what we look at, the balance of the horse, the preference, how it loads, the loin croup ratio, and some other factors that might influence the balance of your horse and possibly its way of going. So knowing those weaker links knows how you can make those stronger, and make sure that your horse is as strong as we can possibly make it. So part of that is assessing of the movement of the horse, because how the conformation is usually says something about how it moves, but not always. Excuse me. So the balance, while it the balance it has while it's moving is very important, and also how it's moving, how it's using its body. So by looking at that carefully, and ideally when your horse is moving loose, you can see what its preferred way of going is. And if it's like a giraffe with a neck up in the air, you know that that is basically what it will be doing when you're not riding it. So we need to try and get that right, get that improved while it's working with us. And when the horse gets tired, it will resort back to that preferred way of going. So the stronger we can get it and the fitter we can get it, the more healthy we can keep movement. So that is what we're going to look at here. So we're going to combine what we learned in the previous assessment and this one to really create the healthiest possibly moving horse that we have. Now, of course, there are different factors still beside the horse, beyond the horse, and your crew, for instance, whether you have it or not, if it's different people every time, you yourself, whether you have transport, other support, perhaps your finances or time restraints are important to realize as well. I find rider fitness and also mental fitness is very, very important as well. So we have to think about weaknesses there or not, whether we have time to train, whether we have the money to reach our goals, because money is an important factor, I find, and a lot of people put a lot aside, leave a lot of luxury stuff to be able to do this, but it's something that we sometimes have to realize. So the shorter distance are always easier, but the longer, the further you want to go, everything will become more and more important. So everything around you will become more and more important, and that is good to realize. Now, this is where it gets interesting, because we're setting up feasible goals and long-term plans. And yay, let's start with the goals, plenty of those. A lot of people say, I want to do 160 kilometers, or I want to do that 100 miles. But they need to be feasible, because not every horse can do that. The goals are not the same as dreams. We can all dream, and that's fine, and we can try and make them true. I've done it, so why can't you? But the dreams need to be in some way realistic enough that you and your horse can do that. So start small, and then perhaps start smaller still. Learn about our capacities, not only ours, but our horses, and take little steps. It takes at least 4 years to work up to 160 kilometers. If you're doing it faster, you're probably cutting corners. And I mean, when your horse starts from scratch with endurance, often there are some hiccups along the way. Now, having said that, dreams or goals of 40 or 60 kilometers or 80 kilometers can be just as big and exciting, or doing multiple day endurance. So it's different for each person, and it is important to work towards that goal and make a plan. So that is the thing. It doesn't matter what your goal is, as long as it's feasible and we're doing it step by step, and we make a plan and we work towards it. So once we have our goals, we can start planning the upcoming endurance season. We need, of course, the right calendar. But once we've done the evaluation, we know what we need to work on, and we have the goals we want to set, we can start planning. And you don't need to plan. Honestly, you don't need, but the fact that you're watching these and you're perhaps thinking of doing this series will mean that you probably are into a little bit of preparation. And if you just start doing it, and that can be fine, but you might at some time either find that you're stuck, that you're struggling to get to the next level, or you might find that your horse is struggling a little bit and you might have a little injury. When you're very lucky and everything goes very well, you just go up and up and up, and that means you have a very good horse. But yeah, so usually I see that people get a little bit carried away when they start doing endurance, and they're like, yeah, oh, let's do this, and this is going really well, and let's do more, and I've done this and I've done that, and I might have won this or that. Be prepared that in the long term, if you're doing it a little bit wrong, your horse will feel that. So by preparing and planning and thinking about those evaluation that we did, we can really make our healthiest possible athlete. And I find that really, really important. Setting benchmark, checking ourselves, and really think if we're still on the right road or we need to make some adaptations. Right, I hope that has given you a good idea of what to expect in these, whether you're starting out with your current horse or whether you want to start with a youngster, whether you have a thoroughbred, a heavy cup, or an endurance superstar in the making, whether you've just started or whether you've already done a good bit of endurance. We all need to know what the weak spots of our horses are, and we need to prepare our season. And in that way, we can make the best of the horse's abilities and our own abilities and ride healthily. So I hope this has given you a little bit of an idea of what this series is about, and I hope you will purchase it, or perhaps even want to join the full online endurance coaching course, Endurance Step by Step. Perhaps you've already done that, so yay. And have a look at all the other stuff that is on the free member section, and the talks and topics that can help you with your endurance horses journey. Well, endurance horses are part of the journey, aren't they? So if you feel that you would like to talk to me one-on-one, we can always schedule a Zoom or any other sort of media platform to do some face-to-face coaching, or I can, if you're in the UK, I can come over. So let me know if you need any help, and if you want any specific stuff done. That is all part of what I can offer, and have a look at the website for that. And I'd like to ask a favor. You've probably seen this before, but I keep begging, so here you know. If you know anybody that is interested in endurance and would like some help, please let them know what I do. Share the website, share the blog, share any introductory post or whatever. It's just me, and hopefully you helping me, and I would really appreciate any help. Thank you very much. Right, I hope that whet your appetite for more, and I'll hopefully see you at some of the tutorials, or when you need help, I can give that to you in person as well, or perhaps I'll see you at the online coaching endurance step by step. So thank you very much, and I hope to see you next time. Bye.